everyone. Happy Halloween season. July 4th has passed, which means now we are officially into Halloween. And to celebrate, Horror Night Nightmares released a brand new speculation map. So I'm here today to discuss it with all of you, to check out what's changed on the map, and talk about these scare zones that have been added. So let's get into it. So hello again. As I'm sure most of you know, I am Liz. I am a die-hard Halloween Horror Nights fan, and on this channel I talk about the news, rumors, and speculation for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, as well as a little bit of Howl-O-Scream and my favorite local haunt, Sir Henry's. So if you love Halloween Horror Nights, if you love haunts, make sure to click subscribe and join for all the adventures to come. So we have been dealing with a very quiet announcement season for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando this year. Quieter than usual. We've only had 2 house announcements the entire season, with one of those happening on Halloween 2022. So in the entire year of 2023, we've only gotten 1 house announcement. So I know a lot of us out there are feeling the crunch because we are less than 2 months away from opening night and we only know 2 houses. But if we don't have official announcements, at the very least we have this map from Horror Night Nightmares to discuss, get hyped for the event through rumors, because there's just been hardly any PR or marketing happening for this year, and it's a strange one, folks, but that was kind of an accidental hint at what I think is to come. But before we get into that, let's talk about this map. Okay, so as always, I'm going to do a loop around the park. We're gonna start at the sound stages, and the very first item is an image, which Horror Night Nightmares has seemingly enjoyed doing this season, so I'll put it right here. But we have a tree with 3 slashes through it, which is curious. I feel like that might be a little bit of a hint, the 3 slash through it. I know this one might be hard to interpret if you're not super in on rumors and following what's been happening behind the scenes. There's been some talk of there maybe being a return of Yeti. So with the 3 slash through it, I would assume maybe that's the 3rd appearance of Yeti, because we had Yeti in Slaughter Cinema, we had the Yeti house, and then we have whatever this Yeti sequel would be. So that seems to be lining up with the rumors I have heard, and I loved the first Yeti house, so I'm definitely excited to see what they would do with a sequel for that. The previous house, we were in the snow, we were in the Yukon, it was freezing. Those were snow Yetis, but there's all sorts of different Bigfoot creatures out there. We obviously have already seen the swamp ape, we've seen Yetis. Maybe it's time to see just Bigfoot, you know, the standard Bigfoot, the classic. That's my guess for what that one is. Then we move on to Exorcist. This is on the previous map. No surprise there. However, I will say that I've been hearing rumors it's not coming. I've been hearing rumors that this is not happening. Could still be happening. Who knows what will be in its spot. Don't get your heart too set on it. It would have been the new movie anyway, which is coming out, I think, mid-October, so you wouldn't have known what it was before you're going through the house. If you were really excited for the new movie and really excited to walk through that house, temper expectations just in case those rumors are true. Moving on, we have the same graphic as last time, which we already talked about, assuming it's still going to be some sort of colonial witches, Salem witches, classic witches, something to do with witches. That's what I've got for that one. But here's that strange thing I mentioned before. Now we have Stranger Things 4. Now the last time the map came out, we talked about this mystery IP. I said I thought it was going to be Stranger Things 4. I still firmly believe that we are going to see Stranger Things 4 at this event based on the history of the past few years of announcements, which we just talked about extensively on the RIP Tour podcast. I don't know if you can actually see my shirt. The microphone covers my screen. On the RIP Tour podcast, we went through the whole history of announcements. After doing our research for that podcast, past few years, we have gotten an announcement the week after July 4th, which would be next week, and we've gotten frequent fear passes around that time as well. If I were a betting woman and Universal had to announce the next big IP mid-July, last year was Weekend, I'm going with Stranger Things. They can't wait any longer than this, because if they're waiting all the way till August, that's too close to the event. They've got one big IP that's left on this map, and it's Stranger Things. I think we're getting an announcement very soon. soon. My hope is that I will be right back here talking to you guys next week, talking about Stranger Things 4 and what can we expect in the house. Just geeking out over Stranger Things because I love the show and I think season 4 absolutely deserves a house at Halloween Horror Nights. Fingers crossed you'll be hearing from me very soon. Even if it's not following the pattern of the previous years, I do think this one is happening. Not gonna lie, I am terrified of seeing Vecna in the house. Gets 2 thumbs up in the rumors category for me. So I'll be watching Twitter and I guess Threads like a hawk next week. I did join Threads, so you can follow me at DiscoLiz and HHN Rumors on Threads if you've joined there. I'm gonna be staying on Twitter for as long as I can until that ship sinks. If we need another place to talk about all of these things, I am on Threads. You can follow me there. I guess I need to add that to my bio. Crazy times in the social media world. But moving on from Stranger Things, let's go to the next graphic, which is a dragon with a castle. It's the same one we saw on the last map, and there's a rumor floating around that we are going to see a Dueling Dragons themed house. Now, if you never got the chance to go to Islands of Adventure when it was still Dueling Dragons prior to turning into Dragon Challenge with the introduction of Harry Potter, then Dueling Dragons, the queue, followed the storyline of knights battling these 2 dragons. The dragons probably have official names, but I don't know them off the top of my head. But there was the fire dragon and there was the ice dragon. When you got to the end of the queue, you chose thy fate by picking either the red one, fire, or the blue one, ice. The 2 roller coasters were the same ones that were Dragon Challenge. It was just fire and ice versus the Harry Potter dragon. In the queue, you would see knights that were either frozen or charred to a crisp because they were battling these dragons. So maybe we're seeing that story told through a haunted house. I don't know what becomes the antagonist in that case, unless this is just a bunch of dragons, but that seems like it would be hard to replicate. But I like the setting idea and I love the idea of a medieval house with dragons. I just don't know quite how that story would play out as a Halloween Horror Nights house, but I'm open to it. I'm excited to see what it turns out to be. So continuing on, we are now halfway through the park. We get to Chucky. Don't need to talk about Chucky. Pretty sure that location is accurate. Then the next spot, we now have a graphic which ties back to Jack's Carnival and Dr. Oddfellow. So we already talked about him before, and if you guys are interested, I will make a lore video about Dr. Oddfellow to kind of give you the history, but ultimately it looks like Dr. Oddfellow is getting his house. Seems like it's going to be a carnival house. I was hoping Oddfellow was going to get the icon treatment. We were starting to get little hints of him, and we had that little teaser video where the girl was wearing the HHN25 shirt, but then all the hype for it, all the momentum for it just kind of stopped. So I don't know if he's getting the icon treatment or now it's just going to be a house with him as a character and he doesn't get to be an icon. A little disappointed having the teaser, getting hopes up that we were going to have a big overarching story and then just kind of having it dropped. Maybe it'll still pick back up. Maybe they've just got it on pause. I'm just a little sad about that, but excited for the house. Now the next spot we had previously devil horns. Now we've got a guitar with devil horns, and this fits the rumor that's been circulating that we're getting some sort of Devil Goes Down to Georgia house theme around blues and jazz and the movie Crossroads and the devil stealing souls. So we're still along that track for that house. No real big updates there. Then we have The Last of Us. Confirmed, we know it's coming from Naughty Dog, gonna be the game version. I did my homework, guys. I watched the entire game playthrough on YouTube. I will actually link his channel down below because I thought it was a great walkthrough. He did 30-minute episodes and I just put it on the background while I worked. So now I actually know what everything is. So for about 2.5 weeks, I would watch through episodes while I was working, and now I know what everything is. I know the characters, I know the locations, I know the clickers, the hunters, the bloaters, I know what all of them are. I'm very invested in the story. I am way more excited for this house than I was before I watched the game, and I am planning to watch the TV show. But I did realize the TV show doesn't even go to Pittsburgh. They go to Kansas City instead. Last of Us definitely jumped up my hype list after watching the game. And then our final house is still Universal Monsters Paris. Still think this one's coming. A little sad we didn't get an announcement for it earlier in the season like the previous Monsters houses. Still assuming it's going to be Phantom, maybe Hunchback. No new news there. So that's all of our houses. That's all 10 houses. There's a couple things that have changed on here. Obviously, no Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is gone. Some of the other ones shifted around. I would say don't get locked in on locations. I do believe the last 5 I went through are most likely the accurate locations. However, I believe left half of the map might be a little scrambled. But if you're looking at this map and already plotting in your mind where you need to go from Stay and Scream to get to Stranger Things, hold off on that. I don't think we have the locations on lock quite yet. So now let's talk about these scare zones and these new hordes that are on this map, because that is a relatively new concept for scare zones at Universal Orlando. So on this map, they have 4 scare zones highlighted. Now the Universal website does say 10 houses, 5 scare zones. They could be considering these hordes to still be a scare zone even if they're not getting full sets. In theory, this is showing 4 scare zones. We have Vamp 69, which that rumor started circulating a few weeks back. Vamp Woodstock, Vamp 69. Come back to my thoughts in a second. We have Jungle over in Central Park, some horns, and San Fran, and then we have Zodiac symbols in New York. Now, in addition to those 4 scare zones, it looks like we have 3 not so roaming hordes. Up front, you have the Carnival of Oddities horde, which again, really makes it seem like Dr. Oddfellow was planned to be the icon because he's got an entrance zone with his Carnival of Oddities right there. I don't know. And then I'm not prepared for this one in so many ways. The Megan horde looks like over in Simpsons area. Look, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the memes. I don't know what to expect from a Megan horde. Are we just going to have like a flash mob in the middle of Simpsons where they all just come out and start doing those viral dances like they were doing to promote the movie? Are they just gonna be terrifying little doll robot things? I don't know how I feel about that one. That one seems like an oddball. I'd rather have a roaming horde of Megans than have a house devoted to it, so I guess there's that. And then over in Diagon, it says we're going to have Death Eaters. Now, I'll tell you straight away, I haven't heard a single rumor that substantiates this. That doesn't mean it's not happening, but I have not heard anything to confirm this. If it's happening, stoked. I love the Death Eaters over at Hogsmeade. However, in the past, Diagon Alley has been kind of a safe zone where you could go into Diagon and just have a break from the madness that's outside. Would love to see them. Not sure if that will actually happen. Then we have 2 shows. We have a Vamp show near Vamp 69 and Nightmare Fuel, of course. Let's touch on the scare zones a little more than I already did. Vamp 69. I'm stoked for it. I loved Vamp 55, one of my favorite scare zones of all time. I really enjoyed Vamp 85, not on the same level as I did 55. I did love the stage with the little show and I love the music. Vamp 69, Vamp Woodstock, whatever we're going with, that has really great potential for costumes. The music in there, there's so much great music from that era. And if they're tying in a stage show with it being Woodstock, high potential. For Jungle and Zodiac, not much to go off of. I think Zodiac is an interesting idea. So then we're left with the horns. Now, the only thing I can think of is that we'd heard of getting a Christmas or a holiday scare zone in previous maps. Those horns could still be Krampus. Who knows? The horns are very ambiguous, but that's where my brain is going right now. That is it for the map. But personally, I am expecting a big announcement next week. I'm expecting frequent fear passes very soon, sometime before the end of July. And then I would assume we will get the rest of the information in August, all in one giant update like they've done the past 2 years. It's just this year we got even less earlier announcements before that big information dump. But regardless of the lack of communication and official news coming out from Halloween Horror Nights, if this rumors map is even close to being true, I think we are shaping up for a super solid year of content. The originals all sound wonderful. I am super pumped for Last of Us and I am super pumped for Stranger Things 4. I love Phantom of the Opera, so excited to see that. And then the other IPs, but that's just me. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this new map. Tell me what houses you're most excited for as potential houses. Fingers crossed, I'm back here next week, film another video and talk to you about an announcement. Everyone, send out your thoughts to the Pumpkin Lord. Let's kick off the Halloween season with another announcement. But until then, stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.